I'm Sheryl McCollum. Everybody calls me Mac. I'm a crime scene investigator for a Metro Atlanta Police Department, and I run the Cold Case Investigative Research Institute and the Wildlife CSI Academy.
And just fabulous, fabulous, especially the last one, the Wildlife CSI Academy, because we're a big one for animal rights here on this show, just in case.
Absolutely.
We did a whole fundraiser actually for when the wildflowers were out there for animal rights, and we didn't take the money in ourselves. We just gave, here's options to donate and all, because we love our puppies and
Absolutely.
Also, yeah. So we want to welcome Kevin, who is a new viewer. I have to tell you that. And then, we didn't get a chance this afternoon. We had Arlene Wiley. She was a member for 1 month, and she was beside herself over Judge Beverly Cannoni in the case that we're going to talk about. One of the two actually tonight. The first one's going to be Karen Reed, and then we're going to intersperse with another high-profile case, P. Diddy, which is occurring in New York. But let's talk Karen Reed. All right, before I go into the questions, because we have a lot of questions already lined up that were sent to us. Mac, you're following the case. Just give us your overall thoughts about the crime scene investigation here, or death scene investigation, as I like to call it.
Whew. Can I start with the first case?
Yes.
Because I think for me, that's where the whole thing started. And as I watched every day, and I kept waiting, where's the murder? Where is it? Because that's what, if you're going to charge somebody, you got to have it. And then you would present it every single day. There was nothing regarding a murder. And then I thought, well, they're never going to be able to retry her because Proctor, he's done. You have no lead investigator. And to me, when you retry a case, it don't get no stronger. It's going to get weaker because now they've already destroyed your lead detective. They've already destroyed your timeline. They've already destroyed your chain of evidence. So, then they brought it back. And I'm like, what in the world? So if you're asking me just the death scene,
right. I notice I said death scene, right? Yeah.
Yes, it is a death scene, even according to the medical examiner, even according to your witnesses, frankly. So, you sit there and you say, okay, you have a lead detective that did not go to the scene. I've never heard of that in my life. Never in my career have I heard of that. I don't know how that's possible. I'm rendered without comment on that. So now you don't have witnesses that are separated. You don't have a scene that is secure. You don't have a lead detective that is going to do a legitimate walkthrough. You have law enforcement person after law enforcement person after law enforcement person that'll tell you we don't even know where the body was. I heard it was over there.
Linda, what about the evidence? What about the evidence collection from till February? It was like all the way through February 8th, and then even beyond that, February, into the middle February, with no plotting. I've never heard of. You don't plot where you find alleged evidence. I've never heard of that.
I've never heard of that. I mean, we have stakes, big metal stakes that we can put in the ground to market that won't be moved, that we can go back and find with metal detectors. I mean, you don't just point and say somewhere over there. You have to be precise because every inch matters. Every piece of evidence matters. So again, when they don't take things to the crime lab for 6 weeks, they don't ask for certain tests, they lose things. Videos inverted. I mean, it's not good. You want to talk about reasonable doubt 101. I would not want to be anybody that was on scene and face you. I'll tell you that.
Oh, I know. I'd have more of a field day than I think they're even having. And we have some great questions. The Reed Zone. If Emmy said not hit by a vehicle, why are we here? The medical examiner, even she wouldn't classify as homicide, but she said there was no indication of any vehicle strike here. So what are we doing here? Why? I'm going to throw that to you because I know my answer.
For me, law enforcement doesn't have to go to the autopsy, but it's encouraged. That's where you can listen to their notes. If they're talking into a microphone, you can ask questions right then and there. If you have a medical examiner that says it looks like this guy was in a fight, there's no evidence that he was hit from a vehicle. So again, you look for, damage to the lower extremities, to, his hips, his thighs, his knees, his calves. That wasn't done here. You look for road rash, not there. You look for other indications where a vehicle was involved. She didn't see it. So again, typically with law enforcement, you're going to have to take that and accept that, because that's the very first expert you're dealing with. And she's telling you,
right.
I can't tell you. It's not a homicide.
And they pressured her. They called her a whack job when she wouldn't agree with them, which I think is totally unprofessional. And then full melt hash values. Does the Commonwealth assertion that their investigators took no pics of John O'Keefe or the scene in situ, since John was not dead, hold any water at all?
The fact that there's no photographs?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, again, you can't go to any crime scene class, investigation class, where they're not going to tell you, take as many photographs that you think you need and then double it. The photographs are what you are going to rely on to guide you here. There's a thing that happens at any crime scene, and you're, locked in taking these, photographs. When you're going back and you're looking through, you will always see something that for whatever reason you didn't see in person. Yeah. So those photographs are so important. And that is also what you're going to show the jury. So here's my report where I say there was blood everywhere. And here's a photograph where the jury's going to say, good Lord, there was blood everywhere. So it helps. It validates what you saw. It validates what you did and did not do. So, those kind of things to me are super critical. And when somebody says, yeah, I went there and I even found evidence, and I didn't write a supplemental report. I didn't write any report. I didn't sketch it.
I've never heard of anything like this. And the defense has been precluded from bringing in a crime scene expert such as yourself, for instance, to say these things are what should have been done. This is why this is not a good investigation. You can't count on it. Although the judge just said, well, the jury can use their common sense. Maybe they can use their common sense, but I don't know if they would know these things about documentation and all.
It should still be pointed out by an expert. I'll tell you something else they should do. Pull their SOP. Guarantee it's in there. I guarantee you it says the lead detective goes to the scene, secures the scene, decides where the tape is going to be, does a walkthrough, separates witnesses. That was not done. Yeah. I guarantee you their SOP does not say take 6 weeks to take evidence to the crime lab in the quote murder of a police officer.